Welcome to Transport Vlog and the voice of Paul, along with...
The voice of Sharath from Building Beautifully.
And in the distance is the Western Sydney Airport Terminal Building.
Today is actually the Western Sydney International Open Day, so it's now, since I was last year, it's now been designated WSI, actually.
That's right. And this Community Day was on the 17th of June 2023 and included a bus tour of the airport construction site, which you'll get to see shortly. 9 News were there interviewing someone special, but I was more interested in watching the cameraman in action. Hey Sharath, do you know who this person is?
I have absolutely no idea. Shall we ask the audience, Paul?
Yes, do let us know in the comments. After some waving, followed by an ice cream and a good look at the Caterpillar truck, some more waving, a trip to Lavish Loos, where further waving took place, I hope you washed your hands first Sharath, a beautifully built cardboard metro train, and some more waving, Sharath shared this with me.
It's still on schedule to open by the end of 2026.
That's right.
And they have something like, I believe it was 3,000 employees working here right now.
And they've got into this whole waving ritual too. You can see the runway here, which in late 2026 will have planes using it, and Sharath has some news on this too.
So Qantas have struck a deal with the airport. They're going to be flying domestic flights. I don't think international has been sorted out yet, but that accounts for 4 million passengers a year. Their goal is 10 million passengers a year. So they're already halfway there with 3 years to go. I think, I think that they're going to make it there.
Our tour started at the Experience Centre, and this is open to the public and is a wonderful place to find out more about this new airport, and it's quite a funky building too. And whilst waiting for the bus, we found out more about this and other projects happening in the area. And Sharath got chatting to one of the ladies about the sexy topic of curfews.
I was telling her how this airport's really going to just change so much because of the lack of the curfew. I know I've talked about this already, but right now I'm trying to plan my own holiday towards the end of the year, and I'm just thinking about how much easier it would be if I could leave Sydney at midnight or 1 a.m, arrive at Singapore the crack of dawn at 8 a.m, and just how beautiful, how much easier that would be. I'd get an entire day there instead of losing that day because of the curfew,
And also it's flying back from Perth, you can't fly from Perth after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon because you hit the curfew, so yeah. So it'll be good for that as well.
Yeah. But we're about to go on the bus, and I'm pretty excited. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
So now on the bus, and I feel we need a map moment. The Experience Centre is here, and this is the runway that you saw earlier. The terminal is right in the middle, with the Airport Terminal Metro Station behind it, and the Airport Business Park Metro Station is a little further to the east. Before work could start on the airport, the Northern Road had to be rerouted.
No, rerouted.
What?
You can't say rerouted in Australia.
Why?
Because it's rude.
Is it? Okay, how about realigned instead?
Oh, yes, that's much more polite.
And this road here is the old Northern Road, which our bus is now on, and you can see the new realigned Northern Road on the left. And this old road is our gateway into the Western Sydney Airport construction site.
And it wasn't long before Paul almost fell off his seat as we got our first glimpses of the terminal building.
Then we went past this test structure. It has all the materials that will be used within the terminal building, and its purpose is to assess how well the materials deal with the harsh and hostile Western Sydney environment. This is particularly important for the glass materials, as glare and heat can impact them quite significantly. Now passing what will either be a services building or staff office. And now another glimpse of the side of the terminal building.
Western Sydney International, which will also be known as Nancy Bird Walton Airport, is being funded by the federal government and will be government owned, unlike the existing Kingsford Smith Airport, which is privately owned.
The total airport area is 1,780 hectares, and that's about 3 times the size of Sydney Olympic Park. The terminal building is on the other side, and you'll see that on our return journey. What you can see here is the taxiway, and beyond that is the runway, so let's talk about that. So the runway is 3.7 kilometres long and 45 metres wide, and it's long enough for all types of planes, including the A380 and even military aircraft.
And it's built from sandstone that came from the WestConnex motorway project. Not only did that keep it out of landfill, it was a cheaper option as well.
This area here will be used for stationary and turning aircraft, and to hold their weight, a special form of rigid concrete has been used. So now on the eastern side of the airport, and about to turn around. And coming into view is a concrete batching plant. This is used to make concrete on site, which is much cheaper and means less trucks on our roads. These cranes in the distance are for the airport business park, including the metro station. This was as close as we could get to it, so here is an image of the Airport Business Park metro station box as it looked in April 2023, with TBM's Eileen and Peggy about to board the tunnels to the airport terminal and Aerotropolis stations. And here is an artist impression of how this station will look when finished.
The Airport Business Park will be about 20 hectares in size when it opens in 2026, but it will ultimately be 200 hectares. That's the same size as Parramatta CBD.
The bus has now turned around, and here is a view of the eastern side of the terminal, and very soon you'll get up nice close and personal to this new terminal building. Now in view in the background will be the terminal entrance, which when completed will look something like this. And now coming into view is the airside part of the terminal. Construction work for the terminal started in November 2021, so shortly after the second COVID lockdown, and Multiplex, who are the contractors, have been building this for just over 18 months now. Now getting a close-up view of the ground floor. This floor will have all the check-in facilities as well as the main entrance that you saw a glimpse of earlier. Below this will be the basement level, and this will have a state-of-the-art baggage handling system, which Sharath will now explain.
So each bag will be tagged electronically, and you'll be able to track it using a mobile app. On arrival, the app will tell you the carousel number and how long it will be before you are reunited with your bags. This will reduce congestion around the carousels, along with fewer incidents of lost baggage, and will allow you to determine whether you have time to grab a coffee or even a beer before picking up your bags. How cool is that?
The area in front of the terminal where planes will arrive and depart is known as the apron. And the concrete pour for the apron commenced in April 2023, so only a couple of months before this visit. This part of the terminal will be used mainly for domestic flights, and as Sharath pointed out earlier, the whole terminal is designed to handle up to 10 million passengers a year.
However, there is space for 3 more terminals and a second runway, and that would increase capacity to around 82 million passengers a year. That's incredible.
And by way of comparison, Sydney's existing Kingsford Smith Airport currently handles around 36 million passengers a year, and that will increase to its maximum capacity of 45 million passengers by 2030. In this area, the terminal building looks more developed, with additional levels being built, and when completed it will have 4 stories in total, including the basement. Level 2 will be for security screening and for domestic and international departures. And passengers arriving from domestic flights will also come into Level 2. Level 3 will be for international arrivals, and the airport lounges will also be on this level. This metal structure coming into view now is for one of the fixed link bridges.
Each bridge has spaces for 4 aircraft, that's 2 on either side. And this terminal will have 7 of these bridges. So that's how many planes, Paul?
Okay, so let me work this out. So 7 times 4 is... let me grab my calculator. Ah yes, 28. So 28 planes.
Yep, that's the right answer.
Anyway, you can now see inside the ground level, which is level 1, and as I mentioned earlier, this is where the check-in desks will be. In this area, the concrete columns extend all the way to the future roof, which is now coming into view, and the roof is made of stainless steel. This part of the terminal will be used predominantly for international flights. However, a revolutionary swing gate system will allow certain gates to be used for both domestic and international services depending on demand. And additional walls and corridors will be built to allow this swing gate system to work correctly, so you don't have to show your passport for a flight to Canberra.
Would anyone actually fly to Canberra from this airport?
Well no, probably not. Now passing another fixed link bridge, and this one looks more developed. All construction activities are due to be completed by the end of 2025, so that operational testing can commence in 2026 prior to opening. This part of the terminal is looking a lot more finished, with the roof very much in place. Now coming into view is another fixed link bridge, and this marks the western end of the terminal.
As I mentioned earlier, Qantas has already signed a deal for flights that will cater for 4 million passengers a year, and that includes Jetstar flights. There is also a memorandum of understanding with Virgin.
Not quite. Try again, Sharath. Okay, don't give up the day job just yet.
Memorandum?
Yeah, that'll do.
That's legal mumbo jumbo for a preliminary written agreement outlining the key terms that will later be included in the contract.
From this end of the terminal, you can see all 3 of the fixed link bridges that have currently been built. And in the future, this is what you'll be walking on before boarding your plane. And now one final look into the terminal and then the eastern external wall. Now coming into view is the other side of the terminal entrance. And a little east of that, and roughly in this area here, will be the airport terminal metro station, and this will be connected to the terminal via a covered walkway.
So the metro station is not within the terminal, and that seems like a lost opportunity, but there is a reason for that, which we'll reveal later in this video.
Here is an artist impression of how this metro station will look. The concourse will be at street level, with the underground platforms below. And this is the station box, with TBM Eileen breaking through, and now TBM Peggy. This was in July 2023. As I mentioned earlier, both TBMs started their boring mission at Airport Business Park Station, and are now on their way to Aerotropolis Station, where they will complete their journey. Now for some final views of the airport's terminal entrance. The whole airport has been designed with sustainability in mind, and this includes a large number of solar panels that will reduce electricity consumption by around 30%. Most of the vegetation within the airport construction site was introduced grassland. However, there was about 300 hectares of native vegetation, and some of this has been moved to a conservation area. You can't see it from here, but it's east of the old Northern Road, and this may become a public space in the future. So now heading back to the Experience Centre to reflect on what we just saw. What do you think was the most techie thing that's happening at the airport that we've not experienced before at an airport? What would you say?
Well, honestly, it would definitely be the fact that all the gates can swing to either domestic or international, you know?
They can swing both ways.
Well, Paul's not wrong about that. The gates can swing both ways.
Do you know what I thought was really, really cool was the fact that when you get off your plane, you'll be able to know how long it's going to take to get your bag.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to tag the bag. And I think they'll probably have checkpoints in the baggage claim. Like as soon as it's past each checkpoint, it'll be like, oh, it's nearly there. It's 10 minutes away. It's 5 minutes away. Oh, your bag's on the baggage carousel. Imagine that. Imagine you can go and have a coffee, like, you know, go and chill with your friends.
So just like you can count down the minutes for your next train, you've got to count down your minutes for your next bag or your bag.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd hope all the bags are arriving at the same time. Well, like your next bag.
A bit like buses, really.
I think everything that's to be said about the airport, I've said already in my last video in November. I have high hopes for it. I really have high hopes for this airport. So yeah.
I'll definitely be using it if I'm flying back from Perth.
And I will definitely be using it to fly to Singapore.
Here are a couple of artist impression images of the inside of the terminal. This looks like the international arrivals on level 3, with the lounges being up these escalators. And this is on the ground level, where passengers will arrive and check in. And now an outside view of the whole terminal. Now, as Sharath alluded to earlier, the airport metro station is not within the terminal building, so why is that? Well, in the future, Western Sydney International will have another terminal on the opposite side of the metro station, and there's plenty of space for 2 more terminals. So when you look at the future airport, the metro station really does take centre stage. And with all these extra terminals, a second runway will be added too.
And that's how Western Sydney International will reach its ultimate capacity of 82 million passengers a year, which is huge and is on par with what Dubai Airport handles right now. And this could happen by 2056, and by that time I'll be Paul's age and Paul will be a very old man.
Thanks, Sharath. I hope I'll still be around to see it. And I wonder if our channels will have 82 million subscribers by then.
It would be awesome if they did.
And on that note, I think it's time to bring this video to a close. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or question below. I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have. And also subscribe if you haven't done so already to my channel, but also
to Building Beautifully, your go-to YouTube destination for all things city planning.
So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you in another one soon. Bye for now.
Bye.